Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. Hope you're all doing good, as usual. So, of course, subscribe if you haven't, and give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you have any comments or questions or suggestions or experiences or info. I definitely love it. So, thanks again for everything. In fact, so I want to talk, hopefully briefly, about this UFO encounter. It was about a year ago, and I did a video on it too. But if you look it up, there's a family in Las Vegas, and they actually called 911 because they said there were aliens in their backyard. Now, there was a police officer out and about a few blocks away at the time, and he caught like a huge fireball going down through the sky on his body cam, and it landed right in the vicinity of their backyard. So the cops believed him. In fact, the video evidence has been edited and even removed some of it, so they didn't even show some of the complete body cam footage. It makes you wonder why, right? Because body cam footage is meant for accountability and that kind of thing. So why would the police department? It was clearly the government too, because the family said there were government vehicles patrolling the area, and they even put up security cameras around the family's house afterwards. So I totally believe it. I mean, 100%. And they even did. If you check out News Nation, there was a crime scene analyst who put together a 3D model of some of the shapes and shadows you could see. These aliens were cloaked when they landed, and they even put that theory out there. I remember asking back then, what's going on, and why can't you really see them? A lot of these beings are either cloaked or from other dimensions where it doesn't necessarily pick up on a camera very easy. So different frequencies. It's kind of like shifting between different modes, like night vision, for example. Or, like if you've seen that old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Predator, where the alien kind of switches between different modes of viewing, infrared heat signatures, cold signatures, and therefore you can kind of, and it only picks up movement using these certain frequencies. Anyways, just kind of a quick analogy there for that sort of thing. So they did another follow-up video, and that's where they did the analysis. This was a few days ago, about a year ago it happened. But the family, this is what I want to talk about. They said that they're having paranormal experiences in the house, and they think now these were demons that they saw, not aliens. And I don't blame them, okay, because they look kind of shadowy when they're cloaked and they're moving around, so they're hard to see. And this kid, he was on the channel. It's the thumbnail for this video, so you can actually look that up. And he talks about, well, one time there was a Bible and the pages were turning on their own. And then one time there was a cross that was like floating off the wall upside down. And then when he got closer to it, it just like fell on the ground. I totally believe it. And I'm a big believer in there's always an answer for everything, and if it's either like a hoax or it's something misunderstood. For example, in this case, I don't think it's a hoax. I 100%, I believe them 100%. But I was curious, like, what's causing these paranormal experiences? And there's a very interesting answer behind it, and it just makes sense. So I was I was having a chat, with like my spiritual guides, for example, as usual. I focus on the angels a lot. So I was asking specifically what causes. So here's the answer. This is really interesting. So on Earth now, like Elon Musk, the guy who owns Tesla, he owns a company or has a large share in a company called Neuralink. And it's exploring this connection between our mind, like our mind and our body, literally. Like what is that connection that if I'm like, I want to raise my hand, what causes that direct connection in our ability to do that? Of course. And why can't, why doesn't my mind control somebody else's? Like, why can't I just be like, make that person move their hand or that sort of thing? What's that connection with our awareness and our intent, and how can we leverage that? And if you can imagine, of course, there's great possible application for that sort of thing. And like with anything, there's positive, negative application for that sort of thing. But focusing on the positive, like they're doing tests right now where they've had people, like for example, say amputees, people who lose their limbs in war or for any reason, they can give them like mechanical arms now, and they can control these arms using their mind. And they have studies now, and they have like video games where the person has been able to actually play the game. So now we're talking not even your own body, but like a connection to a machine in front of you, and they can use the power of their mind, people with no arms, for example, to play video games, to um, use their intent as if they were using a real physical controller. So we're just scratching the surface with AI and the possibility of non-physical and physical technology, and what the connection is between that. There's so much potential with that. It's amazing, and I've talked about it in other videos. So anyways, this is real stuff, and we're really exploring it here on Earth. Now, these really advanced alien civilizations, there's a lot of them out there. They've mastered this technology for a long time. Clearly, they're not good at flying spaceships, or they wouldn't have crashed. So, but nobody's perfect. So what had happened, from what I understand, they fell out of the sky. They were flying around and had problems and crash landed, and then they fixed their ship while cloaked, and then they took off. But they're not bad aliens; they're good ones. They just had a mechanical failure. So it happens. Again, so the family even said the whole backyard was kind of shimmering. They could see, but it was really blurry, and that's the cloaking effect that they had around the spaceship as well. So, anyways, they do have this Neuralink technology, and Dr. Stephen Greer, he talks about this a little bit. He's a UFO expert, and he's worked with, secret government programs and individuals before on alien life and studying UFOs and that kind of thing. But he says that he's also said they have this mastery of Neuralink technology where they can move things with their mind. And this is how some of them can navigate their spaceships. Their mind's connected to everything, and they can control. If you can imagine, it's just crazy. But and being able to use this sort of technology to their advantage, and he says they can do that. And we're just starting to explore that. So when they crashed, apparently, so it created, if you can imagine all this energy happening at once, right? This mental, this non-physical energy, physical energy from their spaceship, and then they crash. It's a big disruption in the field of energy in that backyard. And what had happened, so what I understand is it created a disruption in literally this field of reality on these poor people's property. Okay, so, and it was told that using Neuralink is like a perfect example. It basically created this field of energy, and this disturbance is still there. So I'd ask, so you guys can see this? And they said, oh, yes, we can. So there's a disturbance in the field of energy, that was caused by the crash, and it is still there. It is still there. So whatever happened when they landed, it left quite a, imprint or indent on the very fabric of reality right there. And when they took off, it was left behind. So it's like residual energy from their technology that they use, right? So if you think about that, and it's just kind of left over, and it's all over their house, for example, in their backyard, if they have this Neuralink mastery of technology, and now it's not harnessed anymore, because they use very advanced technology to do this, but it just kind of, now there's this open field of possibility in the family's house, in other words, meaning their minds can actually cause movement now and changes in the physical reality. And a good way to think about this is they're very religious people, clearly, so they have like cross of Jesus and Bible in their home. And like he was saying, so if after the alien spaceship crashed, if their faith is in a higher power like God, then their fear would be in its counterpart, right? Like the devil and demons and that sort of thing. He even said they believe they're demons now, that based on what their experience is. So it's almost like their beliefs and their emotions are what's causing this disturbances in their house. So that is why, because if their actual ideology, the way they view and see and feel and experience the world is based in like the Christian ideology, it only makes sense if now they start to feel fear and evil. Like if you're more peace and you have, faith and things are good and that sort of thing, everything's kind of stable. But as your fear, it's almost like your fears are kind of connecting to the objects around you that you consider good, and now it's affecting them in a negative way, if that makes sense. So their literal fears are connecting to their understanding of what is good versus evil, and that's why like the crucifix was affected, and that's why the Bible was being affected, because they have a strong mental and emotional connection. In other words, a strong non-physical and physical connection to these objects, and that's why they were being affected in particular. So that is the reason why these things are being caused. And this phenomenon, which is interesting, because for a while, I believe it, and I've experienced this sort of thing before, but that's what can cause it, like unharnessed connection between the mind and the physical reality. So, and people have these experiences, and you can see things moving or hear things physically, and it could be your own field of energy interacting with you around you because something powerful is happening in the moment, or unexpected, or who knows. But this connection is real, and sometimes when unharnessed or unchecked, it can literally affect things around us, and that is the cause of what they're experiencing, from what I understand. So it's a very interesting idea, and it just makes sense if you think about it. Anyways, I wanted to share that, and I thought that was really interesting. And hopefully that kind of shared some insight, both like existential insight as to how things work and what causes these sort of things. So I'm a firm believer in the truth, and there's always an explanation behind something. Always. It's just period. So we just have to seek to understand, and I love trying to do that. So thanks again for your attention, and I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and you take care, and we'll see you in the next video.